Enlightenment cannot be possible unless you realize there is no enlightenment, or at least there's no enlightened beings. There's only enlightened activities. The universe or reality or consciousness wakes up to itself. So it's the field that wakes up to itself, and it's always been awake. And the human is part of that field. The human is not separated from the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like it's a field. It's like a, would you say it's like a wavelength or like a vibration that we just like touch upon?
You can say that. I mean, there are different ways that you can describe the field. Like you can even go to the quantum physics paradigm and say it's the quantum field, or you can go to the Hindu paradigm and say it's the Brahman. You know, or you can go to the Buddhist paradigm and say, oh, it's emptiness. Oh, that's there are just different ways to, I think, describing the same thing, the same being.
Yeah.
And then it's that field that wakes up to itself. And that field is awake everywhere. That field, every corner of that field is equally empty and equally full and equally infinite and equally awake. That's why there's symmetry. That's one of the things I've been talking about is like the art of symmetry and balance. Because like I got contacted by like this neuroscientists and this like mathematicians. So they saw my videos. They want to see like they want to see what's going on in my brain, because I think they're doing this collective study on like, you know, on balance, on like neuroscience and how it relates to spiritual experiences and even psychedelic experiences and blissful states and all that stuff, right? So their premise is that a blissful mind, or a mind without suffering, or any kind of, you know, MDMA high or any kind of jhanas, are just a state of balance in your consciousness. Have you seen those pictures where it's like one point connects to every other point on the sphere?
Yeah.
But it's also connected to itself. It's kind of like, I would imagine like a quote unquote awakened mind would kind of look like that. And that sort of goes back to the yin and yang thing. If you're only standing on the ground of the self, you're not in a state of balance or symmetry. If you're only standing on the ground of oneness, of saying, oh, there's only like God consciousness, that's the true self, then you're jumping from the separate self to the you know, to the no self, right?
Yeah.
So that's another ground. So the only way you can really experience symmetry is when you stand on no ground at all. But then again, be careful not to make groundlessness the new ground, right?
Yeah.
Be careful not to make that field, that Brahman, into like the new ground, into like the new self, the capital S. But be careful not to not make that into a new self either, you know?
It just keeps going, man. You can just really just keep going.
Yeah, it's
infinity.
Yep.
That's really the only conclusion you can come to. It's like you can just keep going. Like, then don't make this don't make this the self, and then don't make not being the self, and then don't make being the self. Not, you know, you can just like.
But then the funny thing, here's another funny paradox, another funny complementary. When everything's going constantly, when infinity is just, you know, have you seen those zooming images on YouTube where it's just like infinity zooming in itself, like YouTube, right? So it's like constantly moving into infinity, like, right? So when everything is moving, nothing is moving. So if everything is arising and passing away simultaneously, and this everything is moving internally, that means like nothing is moving, right? Because that's the polarity that gets balanced. Is that when everything is moving at really high speed, nothing is moving at all. Impermanence at the deepest level is non-arising, non-passing. Just kind of like how a film strip goes. When you meditate and when you try to dissect impermanence, how like, oh, you see through the microscopic components of movement and time and space, how each moment in reality is constructed frame by frame by frame by frame. But at the same time, at the deepest level, that frame is still. The frame is just a picture. It doesn't move.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, man.
But because of that still picture, that's what's allowing and what's manifesting the movement, and vice versa.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, that's great, dude.